Man on the Moon. Oh, it was challenging. It was not easy. You know, he was great, but it was tricky. You know, because it was sometimes hard to just kind of fit yourself around what he was doing. What was going on off camera was more insane than the actual movie.
So it's Jim Carrey playing Andy Kaufman, who's playing Tony Clifton?
Tony Clifton, yeah. So it was like, whenever he was Tony Clifton, it was particularly mayhem. Yeah, browbeating everybody, and he was walking around with stinky cheese in his pockets, and he was smearing stinky cheese on people. When he'd hug you, he'd be like, give me a hug, give me a hug. And he would he's stinking and
who pushed back the hardest? Who said, get the off me?
I don't know that anybody did. That was the thing, is that it was such a fucking weird assault that I think people you were so kind of stunned deer in the headlights that you couldn't really tell them off. We're just like, okay, because it was just sort of, it just occupied the whole room.
Jim was so unbearable that Universal refused to let the behind-the-scenes footage get released because they didn't want the world to think that Jim Carrey was an asshole.
The very first time I saw him, we're on the set of Universal Studios, and all of a sudden I see, bam! This big glass bottle of juice or orange juice or something comes flying through the air, almost hits me, and I'm like, what the heck? And I look over, and there's Jim Carrey, dressed as Andy Kaufman. He says, I'll get you, Lawler! And then he runs inside the trailer.
On more than one occasion, Carrey actually hung out with Andy's real family on the set while portraying their deceased son, providing anyone still grieving Andy's loss with closure. He even got in contact with Andy Kaufman's daughter, who never met him, to give her the chance to say, I love you. Luckily, the family was supportive of this, with Kaufman's sister saying he wasn't being shticky when he was being Andy with us. He was almost trying to give us a gift. At the time, Jim's performance was controversial. Critics, cast, and crew were unsure if Jim was just doing what was necessary to accurately, artistically represent Andy Kaufman, or if he was just kind of being a dick. Unfortunately, Jim Carrey is far from the only actor to push things a bit too far. Some actors embracing the method lose control almost entirely.
Right, shalom, giving all praise unto Abashim, Shabashim, Korash. Double honors under the apostles of Great Millstone, and our honest brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity throughout the four corners of the earth. And above everybody are coming out here to give you this truth for the grace and mercy of Yahweh, Bashim Yahweh Shai, Bashim Korash. Giving all praise unto Abashim, Shabashim, Korash. Okay, so this is going to be a relatively quick video based upon the short snippet that we just seen. And pretty much what I'm going to go into is, you had the apostles, they've told you for the longest time, and brothers have told you for the longest time that a lot of these, if not all of these entertainers, they channel spirits, right? Especially the spirits of deceased individuals. And that's how they're able to forward their craft, whether it be the actual person that they channel through their platform, or whether it be demons on the left hand side that they be conjuring up in order for them to be successful in their endeavor. Okay, so this is a snippet. You can watch the rest for yourself. But a lot of these actors, they be plagued with demons after they do a particular movie, right? They might be plagued with spirits, and then they get the insomnia, they get the drugs and the psychotics and all of that. Okay, that's all part of Hollywood. Okay, that's all part of Hollywood. That's all part of what this realm is. Okay, as a matter of fact, when you understand how entertainment is sent forth, they call it a broadcast, as in to cast a spell broadly. Okay, so particular agendas that people have become accustomed to, but Babylonian agendas, okay, that they've become accustomed to. That was a spell that was cast out broadly by the elite banking families onto the four corners of the earth, right? So if you begin to understand that they use these demons to push a particular vibration out there. So you saw an example of Jim Carrey embodying, the deceased man, and he actually talked with his child that he'd never met, going to show you that he was a conduit for a particular spirit. that's out there, man. That's out there. Okay, that's out there. And we see these particular acts are condemned within the scriptures, but this is what functions on this side, and this is what's used on this side as a means of getting ahead. In other words, when you got guys out here that are falling in love with the fabric of the society, really, you gotta ask yourself, what type of a person is that? Okay, how can you be falling with this society? Because it's so very clear that this society functions off of left-hand magic. Okay, it functions off of demons. It functions off of, all right, spirits on the left-hand side. It functions off of the worship, right, of Baphomet. What functions off of the conjuring up of spirits. Okay, that's how this system functions. Even this, they got a very famous producer. He's not famous, but he's worked on a lot of records. And you know, this guy had a goat in the studio. He always brings a goat to the studio. You know what that's all about, right? White dude. And he's been working with a lot of artists, man. That guy's gonna be a demon, because they say every time he works with a person on a record, he fundamentally doesn't bring any musical attributes, but apparently what he does, as if it was a spell, he makes it to where the record is a hit. So man, this realm, love not this world, man. Love not this world, man. Okay, we gotta look toward something where there's gonna be righteousness, and these spirits, these demons on the left hand side, is not what functions and what is used as a means of getting ahead, but rather more the fear and the fear and the worship of Yahweh Shema Shai is what's gonna be the end thing. Okay, so anyways, that's the video. With that, I'm gonna say, double honors under the apostles of Great Millstone, and the honest brothers that be pushing this truth in sincerity. I'll see you on the next one. Shalom.